Listen to what Thierry Henry just said. It has been absolutely magnificent. The run, the elite awareness. I mean, people might tell you, yeah, sure. What's so difficult about that? Some guys out there simply don't see what is unfolding on the pitch, but his head was always up. This is exactly what I mean. This guy has that contagious energy. This is what I love. Okay, I see space. I see open grass. All right, let me attack it. What about now? Can I beat you to that spot? Yeah, I beat you there. If you touch me, it's a penalty. But his incredible awareness, physical strength, and yeah, you earn the right to be cocky when you play like that. Honestly, yes, you absolutely can sometimes. He delivered against Liverpool. And like I said, that energy spreads. He's been there for what, 1 minute? Obviously, I'm exaggerating a bit there. But those Napoli fans adore him because he plays with raw heart. He has the skills, but he brings a totally different aura. Henry warned the football world about this Georgian winger, yet nobody even noticed. What are your thoughts on Khvicha Kvaratskhelia? I was watching him closely, and I can promise whoever signs this guy is going to land one of the absolute best talents in the game. Generational talent. I was blown away by this brilliant player. Those words from Thierry Henry are no joke. Kvaratskhelia is an absolute beast this football season. I know his surname is a nightmare to pronounce, but trust me, it's way harder trying to defend him when the ball is at his feet. Declan Rice or Dembele, the guy who just secured the Ballon d'Or. No, it absolutely has to be Kvaratskhelia. He was phenomenal in giving you exactly what you demand and what you just want to watch him do. Pure magic. We've had this chat before, and there is a massive gap between a pure dribbler and your standard front three forward. Kvara is genuinely special. Tell everyone right now to go watch him play. If you ever get the chance to see him live, soak it in, enjoy it, because dynamic wingers like him rarely come around. He's currently hitting his peak form. Literally nobody can stop this man right now. Not Chelsea, definitely not Liverpool, and not even Bayern Munich. People claimed Kvaratskhelia ruined his career by transferring to PSG. League One, the Champions League, the Ballon d'Or. It all feels like destiny already written. Who would dare stand up and actually challenge that fate? You have to go show them that you are truly him. You are Kvaratskhelia. 35 matches, 21 goals, 10 total assists, 31 goal contributions from a winger, not a striker. Dealing with totally relentless defensive pressing, tracking back on defense, and getting fouled more than anyone else. These stats already look impossible, but for Kvaratskhelia, this is just the opening act. If you thought that was enough, then look at the absolute football insanity he produced in the Champions League. 10 goals, 6 assists, 16 goal contributions on Europe's biggest stage. The all-time PSG single-season Champions League record officially belongs to a new king. And the superstar he surpassed was Ousmane Dembele, the reigning Ballon d'Or winner himself. And if we zoom out even further, across the entire Champions League campaign this year, only 2 players matched Kvaratskelia's massive combined goals and assists tally: Kylian Mbappe and Harry Kane. And you probably already know the funniest part. Both of those legends are out of the tournament entirely. Kvara is absolutely my guy, man. I love Khvicha so much. He's the greatest big game player in the football world right now. 14 direct goal involvements in the Champions League this season alone. He simply turns up when the pressure is highest. I don't know if you caught that quote. It was from the PSG sporting director, who basically said, if you change your difficult name, you're the clear front runner for the Ballon d'Or. Something like that. Now, let us focus on one specific massive match. The first leg Champions League semi-final clash between PSG and Bayern Munich. That shot goes in. Zero doubt, he'll find the back of the net. Hakimi is suddenly free. Oh, he steps over it. Kvaratskhelia finishes it. 2 massive goals at Bayern's own stadium. He walked straight into the Allianz Arena like he had a personal vendetta against every single German inside that ground that night. So why is the football world only now witnessing a madman like this? If you only watch the highlight reels, you'd think his football is built purely on instinct and chaos. It isn't. There is a method to the madness. The first and most important piece, he is genuinely two-footed. Not just a guy who occasionally uses his weak foot. He's truly ambidextrous. Either foot, any angle, any split second, he delivers the kill shot. The real nightmare for defenders facing him is the absolute loss of control. You cannot force him where you want him. block his left side, and he explodes down the right flank. Force him onto his right foot, and he nutmegs you with his left the second you open your stance. Right then, every defensive trick you spent a whole career mastering means nothing. Suddenly, you are no longer a brick wall. You are just a helpless training cone, watching him glide right past. One underrated but absolutely lethal detail, his first 3 steps. Kvara might not be the fastest winger over 60 meters, but he does not need to be. We are talking about pure explosiveness. That terrifying ability to go from 0 to 100 in 2 touches. That is when he finishes you. By the time your brain even realizes he is gone, congratulations. He is already inside the penalty box. A little chaos, but Lobotka knows exactly where to pass. Raise a counter from Napoli. And this is exactly what truly defines football greatness, the way he completely owns the biggest stages. I'm not exaggerating here. Just look at the chart. He delivered in the quarterfinals, he exploded in the semi-finals, and he absolutely finished the job in the final. The brighter the spotlight gets, the more monstrous his instincts grow. Do not mistake that for luck. That is the DNA of a conqueror. Luis Enrique even gave him a brand new name, Kvaradona, combining his name directly with Maradona's. And remember, this is Luis Enrique, one of the most successful football managers of the modern era, personally comparing his own player to Diego Maradona. That is not just casual praise. Finally, the line separating a talented winger from a modern football legend. It is genius level IQ. Watch how he scans the pitch before the ball even reaches him. Before that first touch, he has already calculated 2 or 3 moves ahead. While defenders are still trying to solve basic puzzles, he has already called checkmate. Now, put the stats aside for a second and let's talk about what he has done to the identity of PSG itself. This wasn't just a transfer, it was a revolution. In January 2025, PSG paid 80 million euros to bring him to Parc des Princes. Looking back, that price tag feels like the absolute robbery of the century. PSG were already a solid squad back then, but they were trapped by one massive problem. Post-Mbappe, PSG still had elite quality with guys like Dembele and Barcola, but they lacked a cold-blooded decider. Someone capable of putting the entire squad on his back through the darkest moments. A ghost who terrified defenders in one-on-one matchups. A player who made the entire stadium hold its breath every single time he touched the ball. Then Kvara arrived and he filled that massive void like the final piece of destiny itself. I think he has easily been one of the greatest wingers in the world since his Napoli days. Huge credit to the guy who found him. We are just so used to Khvicha getting into those killer positions and being totally automatic. Honestly, when I watch him play, I think he is just built different from other wingers. His sheer physicality is unique. The brutal way he attacks the wing is entirely different. When I think about him, I do not picture a guy just whipping in standard crosses all day. He is honestly almost like a winger turning into a ruthless striker. He really is an incredible talent. Let's be fair for a second here. Bradley Barcola is an excellent player, but Kvara is an entirely different species. Tactically, he completely broke the game. Before Kvara arrived, the left flank of PSG was creative, but highly predictable. You knew Barcola wanted to sprint into the space behind the defense. Fine, just drop your backline deeper and the problem is solved. But against Kvara, you are completely blind. Will he slow the tempo and wait, slice inside to shoot, or pull off a ridiculous no-look pass? He is the ultimate wild card of modern football. And at the highest level, unpredictability is a death sentence for any defense. Kvara's mere presence triggers a terrifying domino effect. Dembele suddenly gets oceans of space on the opposite wing. Opponents are just forced to overload the left side. Vitinha and Fabian Ruiz instantly find deadly passing lanes right through midfield. Even PSG's pressing machine is transformed. Kvara is the spark, triggering the press with endless energy. And the result? PSG conquered Europe in the 2024-25 season. Right now they are marching into a second straight Champions League final. And in every single iconic snapshot of that run, the man lighting the spark has been him. He is an incredible guy. Off the pitch, totally grounded. Of course, we all know just how fantastic he really is. I knew he would secure that massive transfer. Sooner or later, he was going to make that leap. and he completely deserves it. He comes from very, very humble beginnings. We talk all the time. And I told him straight up when he finalized that massive move, I said, you really deserve this. Now, we hit the core of the debate. The million-dollar question, does Kvaratskhelia actually deserve the 2026 Ballon d'Or? Honestly, it's a fierce debate. One that has ripped the footballing world into two angry camps. For the fans backing him, the first and biggest metric is simple. Pure, raw footballing talent. If we only judge what happens on the grass, the argument dies instantly. Goal.com, the titan of football media, dropped a brutally clear verdict in their Ballon d'Or power rankings. Look closely at that phrasing, not just one step ahead, not a single magical moment ahead. Completely untouchable. This isn't blind hype from obsessed supporters. This is a clinical evaluation from the sharpest minds in sports media. He is not just running in this race. He is absolutely dominating it. And his critics? They point straight to this brutal reality. I say this with total respect for his unbelievable season. But we have to wake up. Georgia failed to qualify for the 2026 World Cup. They finished third. They won just a single game. In a year where the Summer World Cup takes over the planet, missing that tournament is a massive black mark for the Ballon d'Or voters. It feels like he could be, I know you could say this about half a dozen Paris players, but I honestly think that Kvaratskhelia should win the Ballon d'Or. I really do. The guy has just been amazing. Just absolutely unreal. He plays like the perfect modern forward. Brilliant decision-making, crazy stats, deadly delivery. He is right up there. But here is the cruel equation. His rivals include Harry Kane, who might actually win the World Cup with England, Dembele, who could steal the Ballon d'Or if France goes deep, Lamine Yamal, a generational talent, and Kylian Mbappe sitting on 47 goals and desperate for his first ever Ballon d'Or. What do they all share? Every single one of them gets to shine at the World Cup. Meanwhile, Kvara will be stuck at home watching the tournament on a TV screen. So, does Kvaratskhelia deserve it? Yes. A million times yes. If we judge purely on raw footballing magic at the highest level, then kill the debate right now. If they handed out the trophy today, he wins. No discussion needed. He sits alone on top of the sport. Not because the media built fake hype, but because of what he does with the ball on those suffocating Champions League nights. But football politics and the Ballon d'Or never work that simply. Kvara is playing like a god, but he holds the passport of a tiny nation. Georgia missing the World Cup hangs over him like a heavy shadow. It is flat out absurd to rob the award from a player who scored in the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and the Champions League final just because he sadly was not born in Paris, London, or Madrid. If Kvara loses the Ballon d'Or, it is not his failure. It is a massive failure of the voting system itself. On one hand, Kvara is completely rewriting the definition of footballing dominance. On the other, you have superstars just waiting to steal that World Cup spotlight just to patch up those club season gaps. If Kvara drags PSG to the peak of Europe once, again, bags a goal in another Champions League final, and still loses the Ballon d'Or race, then I'm sorry, we aren't actually crowning the best football player in the world anymore. We are just looking for whoever holds the trendiest passport this summer. And honestly, ladies and gentlemen, that right there is the greatest tragedy in modern football. Whoever gets their name carved into the Ballon d'Or this year, just remember this, what Kvaratskhelia is building right now is pure legacy. At 25 years old, he already snatched a Scudetto with Napoli. He has already hoisted the Champions League trophy with PSG. And he didn't just show up for the final. He found the net. Now he stands on the brink of history with a second straight Champions League final. After absolutely shattering this club's European records to pieces, we need to drop phrases like young prospect or rising star. Toss those labels out. Kvara isn't just the weather forecast anymore. He is the hurricane. He is the main event, the focal point, the brutal reality every European defence has to deal with. And if you are ignoring Kvara right now, you are blinding yourself to the best player in Europe today. Period. I said what I said. From a guy once mocked as the most expensive flop in football history, kicked out of Barcelona's Champions League squad over bad discipline. Management flat out told Ousmane Dembele to go find a new club. That is exactly why he was benched for tonight's match. They said, we told him and his agent to pack up and leave immediately, because we only want players fully committed to this project. Fast forward to the 2024-25 Ballon d'Or winner, 35 goals, 16 assists, dragging PSG to their first ever Champions League title in history, while topping the entire League One scoring charts. Simply put, nobody could stop him from putting his hands on that Ballon d'Or. And right now, he stands at the very doorstep of history again. May 30th, 2026, Puskas Arena, PSG versus Arsenal. Champions League final. The absolute biggest game in club football. What if PSG actually wins that trophy again? The second PSG reaches that summit of glory, the Ballon d'Or will be impossible to snatch away from Ousmane Dembele. This is no longer just about an individual football award. This is the moment we actually witness history. A player writing the very first lines that might completely redraw the map of modern football. We've all been saying this in France for years now. If Ousmane can actually finish what he starts, he will easily be the best player in the world. And that is exactly what he is doing right now. From Chelsea and Liverpool to giant Bayern Munich, all tried to snap his momentum, only to realize they were just tiny brushstrokes decorating this wild fairy tale called Dembele. Now here comes Arsenal, a great squad. But are they really tough enough to shut him down? Or will they just be the next victim written into this story? During his rough years at Barcelona, Ousmane Dembele was constantly branded a PlayStation player. The kind of tag you give a guy whose speed and dribbling skills look so absurdly unreal they feel fake. And honestly, that pure madness never faded away. Barcelona drops back to defend well, but here comes Dembele on the break. Real danger now. Dembele still flying forward with massive pace. Still Dembele, and Barcelona takes the lead. Nobody denies that talent. But what actually transformed the Dembele of the 2025-26 season into a totally different monster playing football on a completely new level is the killer instinct Luis Enrique managed to finally unlock inside him. For most of his career, Dembele was boxed into the role of a pure winger, hugging the right touchline, cutting inside and forcing chances. Entertaining, dangerous, but slowly becoming way too predictable. Luis Enrique dared to do what past managers were terrified to try. He moved Dembele into the centre to operate as a false nine. Not because Dembele magically morphed into a classic striker, but because within PSG's fluid spatial rotation, within this fluid tactical system, his new central position becomes an unsolvable nightmare for any defence. Obviously, in this role, he isn't there to physically bully centre-backs. Instead, he excels at swapping spaces with teammates, slipping into quiet pockets just off the defensive line. And in those areas, Dembele is a total menace. He has the pure pace to burst behind the defense and connect with early balls. But he also has the elite technical skill to control passes in tight spaces, isolate a defender, and create his own clean shot on goal. Whenever Dembele runs the central channel, opposing centre halves are caught in a nightmare trap. Should they step out and track his run? If so, massive gaps instantly open up for Kvaratskhelia and Doué to completely shred. If they sit back, Dembele just takes the pass in stride, spin, and use his flawless two-footed magic to smash the ball into whatever corner he wants. That isn't just tactics. It is a fatal trap with zero way out. The match stats back this up perfectly. They do not lie. He is not just a finisher, he is the starting spark. He is not merely the playmaker, he kills off games all on his own. 2 jobs, 1 player. Everything runs through the exact same guy. There is one specific trait pundits bring up constantly, but almost nobody explains the chilling reality behind it. Ousmane Dembele is purely two-footed, not just swinging a weaker foot when he has to bail himself out, but in a freakish state